I just looked what time it was, 2:56. I woke up. I don't know. I keep waking up like at 1:45 or 2 or something. And then even when I try and go back to sleep, it is, I just, there's way too much thinking. It's like energetic. I don't know. It's like I just feel like wide awake. And I'll just sit there and just, I keep trying to get, like, pull myself into my little roly-poly ball. And I even noticed last night, I pulled myself into my little roly-poly ball, and I even crossed my arms, and I thought, it's so strange how going back into this, like, fetus position is, like, it's like a comforting thing. It's like a roly-poly or something. It's like going back, you know, I don't know if other people do it. I can't imagine people not being comfortable in that position. But it is like, I don't know, when I'm trying to really relax, I do it a lot when I go to bed and I go lay down. I'll pull myself totally into this little roly-poly position, and it is so comforting. And it just reminds me so much of like being in the womb or something, especially under the blankets and stuff. And it's like this comforting feeling. But last night was the first time I ever noticed this arm crossing thing. I don't know how I do it normally. Like, it seemed like it was like the first time I ever did it or something. But it also seemed like, well, it just seemed like that's the way your arms should be. Like, that's how they are when you're a baby. Like, I don't know. I don't know, but it's a comforting position to me. But, you know, I've got the neurodivergent, autistic, schizophrenia, bipolar. Like, I got all the weird brain problems. So, anyways, I was laying there. I was trying to go back to sleep because the past few days, I am having the weirdest thing, like where the days keep being so chopped up. It's like, I swear to God, I can just be sitting here. Like, I could be trying to find something to do. Like, right now, it is weird outside here. It is weird. Like, all of a sudden, there's just tons of spiders, and they're all over my deck. So, and they're hanging everywhere. And there's a lot of these little red ones that bite you. Like, they're like a mosquito bite, because I've gotten bit by so many of them. As you can't see them very good, because they're pretty small, and they're always hanging in the trees and stuff. But when I was out clearing my little yard forest thing, when I moved in, it was so overgrown. Nobody had ever taken care of it. And so I was out, you know, trying to make, you know, trying to do something. And I was getting bit so much right on my neck. It was like all these bites. But anyways, it's like rampant with those. But it seems off the time of season. That is what's really weird, too. And I keep trying to think, like, okay, am I just reading into every motherfucking thing? Like, is this, like, did this happen last summer, too? But last summer was so off, too. It did this same thing. Like, it's fucking weird. Like, when I go out, there is things, it looks like somebody just went by with some kind of spray paint, orange spray paint, and just splattered it out on all these trees. And that happened last year, too. It happened in a different time, and it seems like they were kind of a different color. That's what makes me think it was like a different chemical. And I don't know what's up with the and I don't know if it's like knocking me out in the middle of the day. But it was like, you know, my legs will get tired of sitting here or something, or my eyes will be burning from, it's a lot of strain. I can't see good at all. And it just naturally, your eyes are constantly straining, trying to see. Even though I'm not squinting, I purposely do that. But my face, what my eyes are doing is squinting hard. And so it's kind of exhausting. And, so I purposely, this is where I know we've got so much more control over things, because there's so many things I've just done through my life naturally, purposefully. Like, I put my mind to it and I made it happen. I did it. like becoming ambidextrous when I learned in grade school, like that we were right-handed or left-handed. They made a whole thing about it that day at school, and we all had to do these things and stuff. And I, right then and there, decided, well, if there's ambidextrous, if people can do both, I can do both. And it seems important because you got to have a backup. You can't just rely on one thing. You got to have a backup. So anyways, it's just been my approach to life is just different. But I also got to say, I've always had a lot of guidance. So I always feel like I've had, like, you know, older people that I listen to or something. So anyways, let me think what I was saying, because I'm totally going off on something I wasn't even thinking I was going off on. I wasn't even thinking I was going to talk about whatever I'm talking about. Now I have no idea what I was talking about. You know, it just was weirding me out. Like, there's a couple, or I think Cece, I think, has said a couple of things like that I had said in a video. I have no idea. Like, usually I noticed this like way back when I was trying to figure out like their censorship, like what they were doing. Like, I would watch my videos and I would try and figure out, like, I would watch the numbers and stuff, and I would try and figure out what was going on and like what they were doing. And I mean, they're doing more. So you guys are going to have to tell me, because somebody else now has said that it takes all day to download. Once they go in and try and watch my video, it just spins that downloading thing all day long. My nose is running. I've been sneezing my head off. The fucking face parasites are so active this morning. That was another thing too. I can't go to sleep and these motherfuckers are crawling all around my face. I can feel them, and it's like, and I keep blowing smoke through my nose really hard, and it feels like one's about to come out of my nose right now. And oh my gosh, that is so weird feeling. It feels like a fucking, well, I always have the fucking visuals. If I didn't have the visuals, I don't know what it would feel like. But it feels like a goddamn metal caterpillar coming out of my nose. And I keep getting lost. But anyways, when I went back and I was watching the videos when I very first started, and I kept thinking, it seemed like I had to like get the video in the thing. Like, if I just put the video on, it would just sit there and sit there. If I would go in and I would watch it, you know, I only had to watch like a couple minutes, and it would then it would start going. Then it would start getting views. And so I kept thinking, okay, well, it's got to be something that they have some like hiccup that they make me jump through some hoop. So I've been doing that for a long time. When the video would go, like one time Me23 said, oh, I got it first. Usually if I see it download, I will push it to view it first, because it seems like it's the only way that I get anything. So when Me23 was going in and saying that he was seeing it first, when he was saying it kept downloading, I kept thinking, okay, I got to get to it first, because it must be that I've got to see it first, because I've been paying attention to this. It was like, I mean, we're going on 3 years of me doing this now, which is so fucking weird. I swear to God, I thought I was so late to the game when I got into doing this. I thought, oh my gosh, you know, fucking everything's gonna go down. It's gonna be 6 months at the most. Like, things have so opened up as all of this has progressed. Like, what I have understood as through the awakening, you know, it's so trippy. But now I see it as like, okay, now I get it. Like, this is just leading into what's about to go down. Like, all of this was, well, they've told me a lot of things about it. And that's one of the things, like, I'll talk more about that once we get to the other side, which I don't know when that's going to be. There sure is a lot of people that seem like it's going to be this month. Like, this astrology thing is like a big thing, and it also lines up with another thing. Like, Venus is giving birth and Pluto is, I don't know, all that stuff. And even if I go in and try and learn all that stuff, like, I don't want to use my brain injury as an excuse, but my memory is jacked. But in the process of that happening, it was like the same thing when when I was losing my sight, and they told me that they wanted me to work on my insight. When I started having a bunch of pain, they told me it kept me grounded into this world. And so they've given me other insights, other perspectives into things. And, like, there's just so much that you gain from all of the different things, but you have to, be reminded sometimes. Otherwise, you just focus on the loss. You just focus on what isn't even real loss. So, okay, now I'm all over the place. But when I went in and I was watching those videos was, sometimes I would get just so interested that I would literally sit and watch my video, and I would have no idea what I was about to say. I was like, this is so trippy. I just said all this stuff. It feels like I'm totally present. I'm very focused on what is being shown to me, but I feel like kind of like that I'm like that just regularly. Like no matter what, like if you're talking to me, I'm still going to go inside my mind and, go through what I think. Like I'm going to go in, there's like I don't know, a whiteboard up there. I don't know. But I'm still going to go into myself. So, that seems to be something that's different than some people, because that would weird a lot of people out. Because I would all of a sudden come back to this conversation and the person would be in my face doing this. And I would be like, and then it would be like, what are you looking at? I don't know. Like, I wouldn't even understand what people were talking about. Like, it's weird when you're just living your life. And then I'm just assuming that we're all just living the same. Like, and then when people would do that, I would keep thinking, there's something weird. Like, maybe I'm just really weird. Like, maybe I'm some sort of outcast or something. Maybe I'm like the broken angel. I don't know. It would really weird me out. It was a lot to go through being bullied, like, forever. Like, I'm really excited now to see so many people talking more about reincarnation and more about open to, like, it kind of tripping them out. But yeah, definitely when I was listening to myself, I was like, I could see something different. Where it was like, I'm not sure what goes on, I'm not sure if I've just lost my damn mind. But like when I have to rely on them for my memory, and then there's certain things, if they want me to know something or something, they make sure. Oh my God, hold on. Okay. Why do you gotta do this whenever I'm doing something? You gotta make it such a thing. So dramatic. So, here you go. 2 seconds. Oh my God. And I'm freezing to freaking death. I had to turn the heater on too. It's so cold by me. God damn. It's like a fucking winter. I swear to God. Am and I went out. She wanted to go for a walk yesterday evening. And there's people who had fires going. I'm sure it smelled so much like winter out there. So anyways, I don't know. That's why I was like, it's like, I don't know. That's what they call channeling, but it is when you're looking in your mind, because I'm trying to get everybody to be able to figure out how to do it yourself, not rely on anybody else. And it's just like, it's kind of like trust and relax in your mind and follow where it goes. I don't know how other people go through, because it doesn't seem like I'm doing anything to me. But then when I go in and I watch me just talking like that, it was like, that's so weird. And then this morning when I read those comments, and I was like, I do not remember saying, I have no idea what they're talking about. And, that is one thing too, when I got my brain injury, I had to let go of so much of that because that's just like my regular thing now anyways. That people will say things like about something that happened or a conversation or whatever, and I'm just like, you know, tell me more. Tell me more. I have no idea what you're talking about. And but it's hard too to have that experience because so much, so much. I would feel like people were tricking me, that they were just making it up, and then understanding how I do of how people see things. I would always think, this is their perspective though, and I don't know what really happened, and they're telling me what happened, but it's through their view, and that would drive me crazy. And so there's like a lot of things I've had to release, but a lot of when I'm trying to remember things or something, it's like it's like this joining with your higher mind. It's like you're keeping it on your device or keeping it in the iCloud. So it's like I don't have it in my device, but I can access things in my iCloud, but not everything is meets the standard to go into the iCloud. So it's like my brain got like, but isn't that funny how that works? It's a micro macro. Like they know this stuff, man. Like just when you hear that fucking Rockefeller, I just heard it again this morning. It's like going around again. That Rockefeller hidden statement, whatever his hidden plan, his mission statement in life, and just everything they do is so on purpose, and has been so on purpose for so freaking long. So, okay, so let me think what I was saying. Okay, so, but if it is that you guys want me to go live, I'll go live. Like, and I'll get used to it. I could start talking, and then my mind will start thinking about the other people, and I'll start, thinking. So it gets me off more, so it's more harder, and then when I lose track, then I start thinking, you know, but those are things I can overcome. That's not that big a deal. I don't give a fuck. I can get used to going live if that is better for being able to see the video. But right now there's 2 people who have said, but I've noticed that when a video goes on, it'll take all day. It doesn't hardly get any views all day long, and then it will start getting a lot more after like 24 or 48 hours. So it makes sense if everybody's having a problem with the downloading. I can definitely go live, and because those go on faster, even though I can't see it. But I just gotta get over it. It's just it feels weird, and I don't know how to explain it. And me, 23, you want me to explain things that I don't know how to explain to you. You got to go out and do the things and then experience them so that you can understand. Like, you can't explain to somebody what you're going through, and then I shouldn't have to. I mean, none of us should have to try and convince somebody of our own experience. It's just that these are things that I've never experienced. Going public, going out and putting myself out there, never in a million years. I was I was so insecure and so insecure and so introverted. Like, you had a hard time getting words out of me for a long time, and I was so insecure. Like, and I did always have everybody always looking at me. Like, it wasn't just in my mind. It really was. It was constantly people looking at me. It was constantly people judging me. And, that's one thing too. When other people see you as attractive, then they feel that they have the right to say what they can critique you. They're constantly in their mind putting you down. Like, I've had friends. I had one friend who came and told me that this other friend, who was supposed to be my best friend, who there's a whole history. I mean, she's still involved with my ex's family. Like, it's a strange thing, but there's a whole bunch of stuff that went on with that. But before it ever happened, I already had a mutual friend tell me how much this girl was trying to sabotage me, how much she was like triggered by me. And she would always be like, well, Kelly's not that pretty. I'm not going around saying I'm pretty. I think I'm weird as fuck looking. Like, what the hell? I mean, don't go around and think because you think somebody's pretty that they think how you think. That's just some bullshit. And so, uh, she's not that pretty. And what was the other thing? Some other thing. It was like, oh yeah, because she would everywhere we would go, because this is just a thing. It's always been a thing. Where people stare at me everywhere I go. I would always, when I was younger, and I was so awkward and lanky and just so, and I'd run into walls and shit. Like I would always think I was just so strange. I was so strange looking. I had these giant cheeks and this skinny, lanky body. Like I felt like I was just a weirdo looking person. And that's why people stared at me. And so, but when you have people constantly with you noticing, you know, and some people are triggered in different ways. And this person would be like, it would bother her. Like, oh my God, every eye's got to turn and look at you and stuff like that. It's just like, I think it's like a praying mantis just went by. This giant praying mantis is walking by. And, you know, that's how I would take it. And so, but it's weird because when you have these different friends with you who have these other ways of seeing things, and you got to see too when people attach to you for all different reasons. Like we think people are friends because they care about us or something, but it's not always the case. Sometimes they are friends because they want to see what you can do for them or something, or they want what you have, you know. And as another thing too is anything that you have that other people want, they will do whatever. Like the person who has the thing that the other people want, they don't matter. The desire of the person overrides all other people. And so it is another thing that makes not secure relationships. There's a lot of, you know, like I've said, every single thing is, it's for the experience. It's what you learn from it. It's what you go through. And, you know, and people always think, well, somebody else has got it better. Well, that person's prettier, so they've got it better. No, there's so many fucking things where people would think you're pretty. And there's a whole thing with the people who people think they're pretty and the person thinks they're real pretty. And so they use it against people. That's a whole thing too. That's a whole fucking big old karmic thing. As like all these things are learning things. They aren't just these little lives like, damn, I really got gypped in this life, you know. I was only 5'2" and I could have been 5'7". It's like, no, that is not what was supposed to happen. You weren't supposed to get that, oh, your mom's first boyfriend was so tall, she just went married him. None of that stuff. None of that stuff. It is never a, well, it could have been, well, it should have been. No, it's exactly what it's supposed to be. It's you who's got to come to terms with it. And, you know, realizing that all of these different things are for learning. They aren't the things that you're trying to make them to be. Life couldn't be better if you just had something else. You would be living a different experience. And you have this other aspect of yourself who is living the other experience. So you're getting the benefit of all experiences through the higher mind, through the universal consciousness. So all of the experiences are being lived. Everybody's playing a part. Everybody's playing the different experiences. And so I'm still going off on, like, sometimes that's another thing too. I start talking about things that I'm like, I have no fucking idea what I'm talking about. Like, it's not, some of the stuff is, like, a lot of things will be like, I'll go through something or whatever, and then they'll tell me things. That kind of stuff is like where I'm always like, God, they tell you such profound things all day long. It's like, oh, you want to, just go through the day with the little recorder. Those people who do that, they probably are just constantly getting these great thoughts, these great insights. And but some of them, see, they get all in their ego because they think it's coming from them. So even sometimes if I, try and go into my ego or something and think, oh my God, fuck, I'm pretty damn smart, then I'm always like, no, I know it's not me. But then they're always like, yeah, but it is you. It's like you're allowing it, so it is you. So it is an aspect of you. So you can be proud of yourself. It isn't just, it's like you're accessing the knowledge. See, she's back already. Hold on, she's having, and she was just totally snoring. When I started this, she was totally snoozing, just snoring her head off. Hold on. Come on, come on. Come on, Stella. So let me finish what I'm doing. I'm not starting all that right now. Should I just start the treats? Let's get treats. Then I'm going to go sit by my bowl because I'm hungry. Then I'm going to go do this and I want that. She just starts this whole thing where she'll just, and she'll be whiny. And so she just like gets me with the whining. So I'm always jumping up and doing everything because I fucking hate whining. And so she's got me wrapped around her finger with the goddamn whining. I don't know how to break it. Stop. Hold on, let me just give her a goddamn treat so we can sit and listen to that crunching. Oh my God. And then I'm gonna give you this and you go lay down. I mean it. Go lay down. Stop it. I'm doing something. Here. Okay. All this interruption. Okay, so there was a couple things I had wanted to talk about, like, and then I'll see something, and then it's like an expansive thought or something, like a balloon that just inflated, and so then I want to talk about that, or little things that throughout the day. But then sometimes I will just start doing it, and just like these things just keep coming in my head, and that's where it's like, or I think, or I go in and listen, it's like, oh my gosh. Like, but that's also where there's like these different, I start seeing like these distinct storylines or something. Like it is, I try and think like about what things have expanded. Like, I think what's expanded is like my awareness. That's what it seems like to me. Because just like when all my awakening, it all started, and I started being like, it's weird. Because to me, it was like all of a sudden waking up and being like, well, we have human rights, Like, and that is when I had that realization that people don't kill people because the Bible tells them not to. That one still gets me. That one just gets me every time. Like, how? What? Like any book can be told to future generations that this is the truth, this is the only truth, this is the history. It's like, and they did that. And then, but I mean, like, it's just so weird because if they can get like the whole Bible, the whole story, like, even there's so many people trying to rebuke the Bible, like so much shit going on with religion right now, like, bug. You got the people who are just going all in on Jesus. They're locking, loading, and they are all in. I mean, the rapture is about to go down. Jesus has come to save his people, and all of that. Then you have people. There is like the people. Oh, I keep praying, I keep asking. He's forsaken me. The what's going on with religion. Then you have these people who are just totally just out rebuking it. People trying to have this history, all these different things. But it seems like these people, when they created this world that they were trying to create, in this King James thing, I don't know his version of the Vatican story or whatever, but they like merged a bunch of stories of other religions. So they took a bunch of other religious stories of other texts and stuff, and then they put it into this other book and told us that that was the truth or something. But see, you ought to connect to yourself to know that wasn't the truth. If your mind had more, it's kind of like your mind has more need to be accepted than your soul. Because it's weird. Like, I mean, for how my mom and I have fought for so long over religion, my whole life, and that it is, like how, man, there's so many things I could say about it. It's like, how could she not, it was kind of like, how could I see and she couldn't see? How did I know and she didn't know? It seems to me it is, the difference in me and so many other people, the thing that I got made fun of so much was the going with my gut. And then to understand, like, your gut is your soul. That's your soul's communication. Your gut speaking to you. That's probably why they try and do so much damage to people's guts. They're trying to interfere with that whole thing. So I don't know. I bet you, though. And so, but other people go with their mind, which their mind is connected to what other people think of them. And so then they're not really following themselves. They're not following their own soul. They're following their ego because they need to please other people. And so I wasn't like that, because I don't see how, like, religious people can't feel what they're following, why they don't see it. But anyways, there's all this rebuking of all of this, all these Bible things and stuff. But then you have other people who are going, word by word through Revelation, showing how it's all happening and stuff. But that was also all on purpose. Like, I used to be obsessed with Revelations when I was a kid. And I don't remember, because I would talk about it so much. And then I was like, had to see Nostradamus. I was like obsessed with this shit. And I don't remember what my mom was saying. It was very much against that. As soon as I start going into the spirit, to me, it weirds her out. And that is always, I think, because to her, it's like the devil. It's like God's not accessible, but the devil is. So, I don't know, but that is all programming. That's all, your brain, where you got to reprogram. You got to see. I don't know. I like what I was saying. So because when I started waking up, I was seeing, like, going outside and everything all of a sudden was looking three-dimensional. I started noticing all this weird stuff in the sky. I started noticing about human rights, but I still didn't have it all put together. 2020 is like, I was just getting so many pieces of the puzzle, but it was like 2020 when it all went together. When I saw, and it was a sickness, of course, but when I saw the lies and what was going on the news, when I was watching Trump and stuff and I would go watch him every day, do his updates and shit, and I was seeing the people he was bringing out, and I was, the way that they were lying and stuff, like, that is another thing that weirded me out. How could anyone, I wasn't the smartest person in school, how could anyone go to that stuff, learn what we learned, and then listen to the bullshit and not see the holes. Like, that weirded me out too. I was like, what's a fucking robot? Is all the fucking nurses and doctors robots? What the hell? And so, but then there started being some that were coming out and they were going against it. And then I started seeing how they were being attacked. I mean, they were taking people's licenses. Now, that's all coming out. A whole big old thing about that, about the censorship that went on. And I don't know, class action lawsuit, I think, on that. There's going to be so many class action lawsuits. I think I mentioned that a while ago. It's going to take down they're not going to be able to pay, just like the insurance companies can't pay now for all the disaster. They can't pay for everybody's shit. They don't have the money for that. So, and the way they, look, I just saw this footage in Hawaii, and they have moved all these people off the island. They've gone and taken a place and put all of these sheds out there and made them into little tiny houses, which I'm not sure if these are these ones, but I think they are. And they all are tubed with an outside tube that you can put, hook up some kind of propane, gas, whatever, and hook it into the thing, and it tubes right into the little building. Whole shit ton of those that are just, it's like, you guys can't take their land. Like, their house burned down. You don't just go, well, we're going to give you some shelter over here on this land. This is their land. They can rebuild their house. They can do what they want. But see, they're just fucking trying to clean sweep it and just move them over here in this little ghetto. Such fucking bullshit. And this is just the way these people have done it always. And they're just, this is a big one. This is all about money. And all these fucking billionaires that are all involved, and Oprah and Rock are going down hard. See, every time these people come on the main stage, this is what we're going to be seeing. We're going to be seeing as they come onto the main stage. It's going to be like Joe's is a big shebang. Kamala, hers will be, it won't be near as big because Joe's is really dragging out. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if now that Hunter's in this lawsuit with IRS, if he doesn't just win it tomorrow, and Joe says, we're going to give him $600 billion, because it's all going to be just extreme absurdity, because that is what has got to piss people off. So it's a fucking nightmare, so they wake up. So they got to go through all of that, trauma. And so it's going to be absurd. Just bet your ass. But all these people coming on the stage now, Oprah, she is just like, oh my God, everybody knows she's a laughing stock. Rock, see, he's got fucking legal problem. He's getting dropped by Universal. Like, so they're all, and Oprah's book's not going to sell. She's going to be dropped by that. It's going to be like this tumbling of things. And then other people are going to come on, and it's going to go, it is going to, like, this tumbling, but then all of a sudden there's going to be some coming in and bringing the light, where it's going to start leading people. Like, it is, I just saw this one thing and I thought, oh, this is about to switch, because there's a lot of these people who follow everything that goes on in Hollywood. All the celebrities and all this stuff, they follow all this stuff. They just talk about it all the time. It's like their whole channel is about it. There's a whole huge group of people. And so she was talking about all of the big relationships that ended in 2023, and she was really sad and disappointed about a few of them. She really had high hopes for them and stuff like that. And she was like, we just need somebody to give us so we can believe in love again. And it just was like, oh, that's what's going to come. It is going to switch. It's like all of this emptiness, all of this toxicity, everything, all the relationships that are anywhere built on a good solid foundation. There's, whatever was wrong with it, going to be a lot of things. It wasn't supposed to go. It was supposed to end. And then, but the beginnings, because there's endings and beginnings, and the beginnings are going to be so much more, it's going to give people something to believe in. It's going to move people into a new direction when things start going the other way. And, yeah, kind of like, yeah, okay, that sometimes because the visual thing is a baby screaming and crying, and the person to soothe it. So it's kind of like when everything switches, the people who, because there's a whole group of us who are waiting on this, like this is the hard part, what we're going through now, and we're waiting on this to switch. And when it switches, it's going to feel like, we are going to feel like our equilibrium is already off. Like, this is so uncomfortable to us. So when it switches, it's going to be very comfortable. It's going to feel like, oh my God, finally. And it's going to feel so good. But to all of the other people who don't see it coming, who aren't all the way away, that is going to become very uncomfortable. They're going to become as uncomfortable as we have been for the past few years. And so they are going to become very destabilized, very uncomfortable, very confused. And so it will be that whole thing, and I have no idea where I was going with that. Oh yeah, okay, so they will be like the infants, they will be like the babies, they will be like the ones crying. But when the good things start happening for the people, because they've shown me this in a whole bunch of different ways, so I know I've explained it. But when the good things start happening to people who have been working on themselves, prepared, like I don't know how many people really see all the stuff I see. Like, I don't know if it's like a lot of people or what. When I see people talking, I'm always like, God, am I the only one out here who sees it? And then when people try and say they're spiritual and they're life coaches and all this stuff, and they don't see any of this stuff, I'm always just like, oh my God, people are getting ripped off. What the fuck? So, anyways, I don't know who can see all the stuff I can see. The only thing I can know is that, I got my injury and lost everything like a long while ago. I just start going through all this stuff that people are going through. And so I'm just like ahead further because I was already going through that. And you'll see as you go through, it just kind of changes. You start changing how you see things. You just get more relaxed about it. You start seeing more. You start understanding more. Like, it's like this opening, you know. But it was like 2020. It did put together so many pieces. When I saw the lies, I just couldn't believe how we were so lied to. And then when I tried to talk to my kids and stuff and tell them, and their reaction, I was like, what the fuck? And then when they started thinking, like, all of a sudden I was a racist and all this stuff, I was like blowing my mind. And then when you start talking to people and you start seeing it, I was like, it's been, everybody's gone through it in different perspectives, but it has definitely been like, it was so eye-opening to me, where I saw, it was like seeing the truth behind the manipulation, and and then it was just like, so many things, as, but there was things when I was doing that and I was trying to figure out, like, my place or something. Like, I was learning about Reiki, I was learning about yoga. I just had all of this stuff that I wanted to learn. I wanted to really, I was getting off all those pills. I was wanting to connect with my mind, body, spirit, and drink smoothies and get all healthy. And I just was, and I was having so many trippy experiences. Like, oh my gosh, I was just having one after another. I was having so many spirits coming and talking to me. It was just like, oh my gosh, this is just wild. And then I would try and tell people, and everybody just kept thinking I was gone crazy, the brain injury, and now she's smoking the weed. She's just gone crazy. And it wasn't. I was just like, it was, everything was just opening and opening. But in the, because 2016, because I was going to say it was something. Oh, yeah, because that is when I think it was I got a reading from a channeler, Daniel Scranton, and I was like, I want to channel. That's what I want to do is channel. And so I was watching all of these, like this whole series came on out of the blue. I've never even seen it again. Everything comes to me when it's supposed to come to me. It's so weird. But this is the relationship I have with them. It's like a developed relationship because it's gone on my whole life. But so um, when that came to me and they gave me that little trigger that I wanted to channel, that I went on and I started, because he even had a class and I was going to save up and do his class and stuff. And so I went on and I was watching all these videos about channeling and all these people who channel, because I was watching a lot of channelers too at the time. I was watching, because that uh, Eric show that lady had, there was two of those shows at the time where the two sons had died and suddenly came back and everybody was talking to them. And so the women started getting a medium to come and converse with them, and then they were talking about the conversations they were having from the other side. And I found those so interesting, especially Eric. Both of them would talk to people who were famous that we would know in this life. They would go and talk to them, and those were so interesting. And that's where they were saying, the life that was the famous life wasn't it wasn't like they had other lives that they were so much more fond of, and those were just regular lives when they were just like a farmer out with their family and stuff. They got so those were such beautiful lives. And then the ones that were famous, those were a lot more turmoil, a lot more it wasn't the same kind of peace. So that's another thing where people think like, oh, if I can just be famous. That is not. Your soul knows what you're supposed to have. Your soul knows what you're supposed to do. It's already in the plan. And so you don't have to do shit. But so I was looking, I mean, you got to do shit. You got to follow your guidance. You got to do that. But so I was watching these channelers talk about when they started realizing they were channelers. It was the Moore show, and he started channeling. And so he started wanting to talk to other channelers. Like he was trying to understand about channeling and stuff. And so when I was watching that, that is where I was like, oh my gosh, that's already what I do. So you can have things that are just naturally you, but you don't realize it because your awareness. And that is a part of, like, for me, is like you keep awakening to parts of yourself that you were not in denial about, but you didn't think about. You didn't, because I'm sitting here conversing with these beings that I know, are out where we think are outer space, alien, whatever these, because ghosts, however you look at it, other beings, other souls, you're communicating with these other souls through telepathy. And so, and a lot of people that, because you've been told that that's not real, but see, I was doing it before anybody could tell me that that wasn't real. Even when my mom started telling me, you're talking to the devil and they're lying to you and stuff like that, that I knew I wasn't. I could see the things like that they were saying, the things they believed, that those were the lies. And so, nobody could convince me. I already had established a relationship at that point. It was always supposed to be that way. It was always supposed to be, I mean, how many times they have shown me that thing when I was 3, like how that even, came to my mind, it's been such a big thing in my head, but to see it, and then every time when I see it, and I see myself standing there after I got in trouble, and they're all, probably trying to calm my brother down and stuff, and I see myself like they're behind me, and I'm standing here and I'm looking up while they're talking to me. And I don't even know if that, but I keep seeing that and seeing that and seeing that because there was such a conversation. It was like, that is when they established their relationship with me. I was 3, so there's no changing. There was nobody convincing me, especially when they were out looking out for my best interest. It convinced me that and I didn't, and I don't know how it was, but I never believed in the devil when they would try and tell me that stuff. I never believed in hell. I didn't ever believe in that stuff that they were saying. And so they couldn't convince me of that. And I don't know, I don't know all the things I was told all the time. I remember there was some really specific things that I remembered about, that we were like a zoo, that we were always being watched, that we were being experimented on. We were a giant experiment. Like that was all that but we were being watched all the time. That was all the time. No matter what I was doing, it would be like, you're being watched. I could feel it. I could always knew. And then when there was a whole thing, I remember, I swear I even argued with my mom about this. I had a whole discussion with her. I don't know how old I was probably, I don't know, could have been from 12 to 14 or something. And maybe it'd been 10, but I was telling her that wasn't true about Adam and Eve, that story was not true. Oh my gosh, that's fucking true. It's like, no, it's not. And there was a whole thing. I remembered them telling me and showing me a bunch of stuff about that. But there's just been things all throughout. But I can't go back and remember everything. But it was very, like I always went with my inside. Never with, no group could get me to go outside. Like I always had that security. Because even like when I believed in UFOs, and conversations would be out there and I say, aliens are real, UFOs are real, Bigfoot's real. And everybody laugh at me and tell me I was crazy and tell me I was stupid and all of those million conversations that, I knew. I knew. And so there's no convincing me. I just thought everybody was so weird. I just thought, man, how are you serious? You serious? Like I would say that all the time. You seriously don't think so? Like I've had so many conversations with people. You seriously don't think you have a soul? You seriously don't think, like, what are you? What are you? Like, what makes you do stuff? Like, I've had so many conversations with people, but see, I knew I wasn't going to go with what they said to be like a part of the crowd. Like, there's no way. And I don't know I don't know how that happened, where so many people just went to be, didn't listen to themselves and went as a part of the crowd. Even people who think of themselves as so, well, you would think of it, if you're trying to be religious, it's all about God and your spirit and your soul and stuff. So you would think that those would be the most spiritual people, but they're the most scared of spirit of any of the people. They just are in fear of it. Even to the point of like all these people running down to get baptized real quick because the world's going to end and they don't want to go to hell. We're in hell. I don't know how people think that there's like worse than this. Like that is programming. You put yourself in your own hell. If you are going to go somewhere worse, it's because you're creating it. You create your own hell. This is the place where it's made. This low vibration. But so, but one of the things that I wanted to talk about was, I just saw this footage in Libya and just so many people are dead, tons and tons. Like this is And I haven't even seen the ones in Japan or China. There's so many of these places where there's huge. Every day I keep seeing this of how many storms are happening in this one day. Yesterday there was like 5 or 6 giant things, a volcano somewhere, earthquake. There was an earthquake in California, and so you know, and I don't know if that's the start of it, because usually before earthquake there'll be a bunch of little ones, shock waves and stuff, and then after. So, and maybe that's the 45 minutes. It's just like there's a bad one. But fuck, 45 minutes. If you've never been in an earthquake, you like it's so shocking when you're in it, and then when it ends and you find out how short it was, because it seems like it's long. 45 minutes would seem like a fucking lifetime. The earth is shaking, but it has to do. I mean, in Africa, it split the goddamn continent in half. So, you know, and that's what's supposed to happen over here. But see, a bunch of people didn't die or anything. Is going to be the problem, is it's going to go through some places that a lot of people are going to die. I don't know if it went through, but all the places it keeps showing, and they keep not talking about people dying from it, and what I've seen, but it seems like it's just way out in the desert. And so I don't know if, you know, I don't know. But to me, it's like these are all these changes that are happening to the planet. It's happening right now. It's not happening later on. Like, we're going through it right now. And that is like, I know we're going through this stuff. Like, I really, really feel like that this, like the 22nd and 23rd, like something's going to go on. Like, I don't know that it's going to be like an asteroid thing or something. It could be something simple. It could be, you know, Joe, you know, it could be anything. But I think something's going to happen in that little astrology kind of situation. Something's going to fall, or something's going to happen. So we'll have to see. And then all this stuff about the 10-4 and stuff, and they're getting so much built up hype around it. And I think people got to see, like, if they really wanted to do that, they don't have to pre-warn us. If they really wanted to just zap us real quick and do it, they could just do it. Like, why would they tell us? They do that to say that because then they can see how the ants scramble. They get all scared and fearful, and how, you know, because you can't die before your time no matter what. You know, you can only die when it's your time to die. It's, you know, that's just the way it is. And so whatever is going to happen is going to, it kind of seems like they're just trying to build up a lot of fear. And just because that loosh thing and stuff, all of the energy that comes out and all of the other beings that feed off of it, it's like we feed the universe with our fear. So I don't know. But to me, it seems like shit is about to go down, and especially the money thing. So, of course, I've got more riding on it now. I did call yesterday. In the first call, I was like, I knew, like, no, that's not what I'm supposed to do. The woman, yeah, lawyers don't know shit. They are not. They're going to be, probably a lot of them, who knows if they're going to wake up or if they're going to just end up on the end of a rope. Like, and it's kind of sad because they were taught wrong. The doctors were taught wrong, but there's still, you have something inside of you. And that is where this quantum system thing, there's going to be something that can read like your intention. Is going to know something deeper. Like, there's something about your intention. And so, you know, any of these lawyers or doctors who were, you know, in their ego thought they were better than other people, thought other people were dispensable, you know, any of that is their intention, then that is, I don't, I don't know. It's supposed to be these trials are supposed to be bigger than the Nuremberg ones, you know. And so we'll see. But was when I called, the woman who answered the phone was so fucking rude. Just as soon as she answered the phone, I was like, I should just hang up now. And then it was like, but I always have this going. So it was like, no, let's see where this goes. Let's see what she says. Let's just get what information we can. So it's like a split personality inside of me. But that is when you are, I think it's kind of like when you have the ability to have both your light and your dark aspect to be able to weigh things out. But you're present in the weighing it out. So you are, you know, considering things, you know, you're trying to decide for yourself, kind of. So, anyways, she was snotty as hell. And then she said, she asked me some questions, and she asked me if I was behind, and I said, yeah. And she said, she was so, and this is a real estate attorney. This is like attorney's office that does this. She was just like, couldn't even hide her disgustedness. And I was like, oh my gosh, this woman is so 3D. And so she was very disgusted, like, you know, low life, what are you calling us about? Go call your mortgage company. You got to work it out with them. You got to call the numbers they tell you to call. And so I was just like, okay, thanks. And she started saying something. I just fucking hung up. And the whole thing, she was so stunning. She goes, well, if you want to talk to the lawyer, if he will even talk to you at all, because he's very busy. And for something like this, in 3 weeks, at the soonest, he would be able to talk to you. Like, she was so snotty. I was like, girl, you're not going to make me feel bad. I think you're so snotty. It's like, I feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for you to have this job. But it's a choice. You know, do you get off on being snotty to people, looking down your nose at people? Is that your intention? Is that what makes you feel good in life? Because all that stuff is going to flip back around on you. And you're going to feel very judged here soon. I didn't say all that, but, you know, I know what's coming. And so there's a lot of people not going to like the energy they've been putting out when it comes back on them. They're not going to like it at all. And so I was just like, that's not the direction I'm supposed to go. And I keep sitting with it, you know, and certain things keep coming up like, oh, you know, you're going to be moving, you're going to be moving, you're going to be moving, you're going to be moving. And it keeps being like, well, if I'm moving, where am I going? Like, it's kind of like y'all have said this for a while. And I have been open to it, but, you know, what is it all? And I saw one thing too with some storm, like there's this whole hurricane storm thing starting on the West Coast now, or some kind of thing that is coming that is supposed to hit. I don't know if it's up here it's up here by Seattle. And then there's this needle thing. I don't know. It's like a comet or something. Something's tracking. There's so much shit out there that so many people are talking about. But whatever it is, if it's supposed to hit, then that's supposed to start some water thing over here. But, you know, there's going to be some water thing over here. I just don't know when it's going to be. And so I don't know, like, if that is the universe is going to be moving me, if I'm going to be losing the house anyways, they're going to be moving me. And, you know, this whole thing was, you just don't know. You got to just stay open to the signs. You got to just, you know, stay open to what they're trying to show you or lead you. And so I still don't know, you know. I feel like if I go with what I feel like the banks are going to crash before they can do anything. I started trying to read the papers again, and it seemed like a bunch of threats that they said. So, and I have to file something within 90 days with them. Like, and I need to pay them $8,806. And then, you know, sign all their contracts and shit again. And then, within 90 days. But if I don't do anything within 26 days or 30 days, no, okay. So I'm supposed to do that within 90 days. And then when they sell it, then there's 30 days. Like it has all these things about these days. But there was something that it flipped back. Like if I don't do something within 30 days, they can make it go faster and go 30 days or something. So it's so much about this knee breaking, threatening kind of stuff. And I know it's all illegal. I know that their stuff is illegal and corrupt. I keep seeing video after video, confirmation of like, kind of like you're doing the right thing, because how can I sit here and support a system that I am not in support of when I see the truth? So that would be going against my own self, even if I am going to lose the house, but I don't know what the future is. I don't know what the future of this neighborhood is. I don't know what the future of the house is. So I can't sit there and be just completely like, no, I've got to have this house. Well, if this house is going to be underwater here in a few months, like, so, I don't know. I keep feeling like something will open up, something will show me where I'm supposed to go. But I definitely keep getting that message. You're going to move, you're going to move, you're going to move. So, but, I've always thought of this place as not being my, 100% time home. I've always thought, I'm going to go somewhere. I'm going to move somewhere, and I kept thinking I would go down there by the grandkids for the winter to be on the other side of the pass. But, I don't know. I just feel like there's going to be some shifts. Some things are going to open up. We're going to see like what direction we're supposed to be going or something. Like things are going to become more clear. It's like the truth will be revealed. Like, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, we're in this holding pattern, waiting for something to give so then we can all see. Because there's a lot of people who aren't seeing their truth, and they just seem to go deeper and deeper into hell to me, into this really rotten side of themselves, which is going to be hard to get out of because you're going to feel so much shame when you feel your soul. You're going to feel dirty when you've been a real dick to a lot of people. So, anyways, on the Libya one, it's so sad. It was showing, I saw a little Sky News clip, and so she was walking, and it was like this giant, like to me, seeing her, it would look like this is like the size of an interstate. The space between what their street is, it would seem like a lot of lanes. And I don't know what it was like because it's just all washed out. Not only did it wash that wide of an area open, which I don't know if it opened it up more and made it bigger, but it washed all the buildings. The buildings, it looks like a war zone. And this was all like this fancy building and stuff. All the people in their cars, it came so fast, it washed them out into the river or ocean or something. It washed them out into this water, and then they're all stuck in it, and they're all dead in their cars. So they have to keep going down, and this muddy, dirty water, and they have to keep going down and getting dead people out of their cars, and it's just full. And it looks like a car pileup, just like they were being thrashed around, and it came so fast. It just washed all those people. There's so many people who are dead there. Huge amount. And the Libyan people said that it has brought them all together. And from all around their whole entire country, everybody is coming to the area, the disaster area, to help with the cleanup. They've all come together. And that's what I kept saying, was that these things are to bring people together. It's like this going full circle and coming in and knowing our strength in all different ways, It's all in different ways, but that is the common thing that I keep seeing, is how people come together, and how disasters bring us, into a place of compassion and empathy, and brings us into a place of unity and community. And so that is one of the, like when you think about the dark doing stuff to bring the light, that is like the disaster. Like there's a dark event, there's a darkness, there's a sad thing. But what it brings in is the light. So that is how the dark and the light work together. That is like the balancing system. That is like micro, macro. When you develop that part of yourself where everything you're going to do, you're balancing it out. You're thinking on both sides. And that is something that they trained me in. Like, that was a definite thing when I was 3 that they were showing me because they were doing it. They were doing it inside my head. They were telling me, you know, you're going to get in trouble if you do that. It was like this whole conversation. And then afterwards, when they were explaining to me. And so that is kind of, you know, like been trained or programmed into me, that weighing things out, you know, going and looking at more sides. Don't just be reactive. Don't just jump and do something. Even though I've always been super impulsive, and I've been put down about that all the time. But it was like, well, you know, once I know, I know. And, but anyways, and then plus, when you're impulsive too, is you go and you do something, you have a consequence. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And so you have that. And so it's your own thing. I don't get why people have to put people down about every little thing. Like put us down about different parts of our personality or something, you know? Why that makes people feel better to critique and ridicule other people. Just like if you are friends with a girl who you think is pretty, and then you are constantly putting her down or something, like she thinks that she is or something. I don't know. There's just weird things that people do. It's like so toxic. It's like you got to stop and question yourself and you know, see. But to me is like this, you know, where they say your spiritual gifts are opening and stuff. To me, they're in there. It's you who begin to focus and have awareness of it and start, you know, working on it and challenging yourself and stuff. I just saw, this was crazy footage. It was another country too. But this girl kept levitating. They couldn't hold her down. They kept grabbing her and holding her and pulling her. She kept going and floating up, and they kept grabbing her and pulling her back down. And then finally, she kept doing it, no matter what. Every time they let go, she started floating back up. And they were, all the stuff they were saying was a different language. I couldn't understand them. But they were all freaking out. And then they grabbed this big heavy bag and they tied it around her leg. And so then she was like anchored down. And so, you know, I don't even know what that's all about. I would think it's definitely everything is for us to start seeing, you know, to start understanding, because it's like she isn't bound down to I don't know. It's like the like the laws of the universe, like the laws of the universe, like the laws of this planet, like the law of gravity, what they try and tell us, but holds us, but it's this magnetic pull that holds everything. But why she wasn't being held by it, why she was floating off, is it because she could understand like her vibration? I don't know. I don't think we would all just start floating off, but there's also, that is a limitation that holds us down, because there should be really nothing that holds us down. So I don't know. All these things are so, I don't know, kind of interesting, but complex too. I saw this girl, she was talking about with her husband that she was sitting there watching this movie about reincarnation. And so she started asking him something, because in the movie, the people would go and find themselves. And I talked about that before, about going and finding your soul person, and through life after life after life. And so in this reincarnation movie, it was showing that. And so then she said to him about, if we, do you think you could find me in life after life? And he said, isn't that what I've done? And I started crying. I couldn't even listen to the whole thing because she started going through all these different things. Like she was realizing the soul connection. That is the thing too. I think if more people would open their minds to reincarnation, so many people's minds are so closed to reincarnation. I'm so glad to see more people's minds opening to it, because that has been another thing that has been such a hot topic to get you made fun of. You know, if you believed in reincarnation, you have to be a complete imbecile. And you obviously don't believe in God. So, but to see people now be more open-minded to it and see, because there is so much beauty in it when you really understand and about your soul connection with these other people. And there is a thing about coming and finding each other over and over and over. And it has to do with magnetic, like this magnetism, this magnetic pull that your soul has. But it's to me, what it seems is you have to do certain work. You have to work on yourself to pull them towards you. Like they are repelled from you if you are not in a healthy position in your mind, then they are not pulled towards you. They're pushed away from you. When you start choosing you and you start taking care of yourself and you start going on this journey to love yourself, that turns them, it's like it turns a beacon on inside of them, like these two beacons, these beakers or whatever it's called, these two lights that begin to look for each other. They can feel each other. And so then they begin pulling closer and closer somehow, just in this natural thing. And, you know, it's crazy because it was always going to happen because of destiny and stuff. It's always going to happen the way it happens. But when you're in the thing and you can see what's happening and, you know, and they tell you stuff and everything, it's interesting because it is like where people are always like, well, I want my soulmate. I want somebody to really love me. I saw the saddest fucking video yesterday. I wanted it. It was yesterday, I think, after I recorded. So I didn't want to re-record over this, but I'm glad I remembered it now because it was so freaking sad. And it was this girl, and she was real up close to the phone. It was turned the other way, so it was mostly her face. And she was pretty heavy set because she had like a really thick chin part, you know, like this part was like, I don't know, maybe half the size of her face. She had that down there. And her face was quite attractive. It was very attractive, just, you know, it didn't have any makeup on it or anything like that. But, I mean, all of her features were nice. She didn't have something, you know, wrong with any of them. And so, but she had like this really thick throat, this thick neck. And, you know, so obviously she was pretty heavy set. And this video is her crying. It's heartbreaking. And there's a guy who she's had a relationship with, who she really likes, and she thought he really liked her. And now he's just kind of, he's acting weird and cold to her, but he's not telling her the truth. And she's sure he's moved on. He's not calling her and stuff, but he's calling him, and he's just being cold to her. And so she was just so sad. And, you know, she may be fat and she may be ugly. It's like, girl, this is the thing. This is where I think that old lady meant in a kind way when she went up to that girl and said, you're so attractive. Why are you so overweight? Like, because people who come from another generation, and just watch old movies and you can see, like, nobody was overweight. And so it started, and they did it on purpose. But the people who are overweight don't realize, they're only from this time. And you have to, purposefully work on, not becoming overweight. And that was a part of everybody's life before. But then it turned into like slack. And then so all these, really pretty girls became overweight when that was not a thing before. No way. And so, it's not surprising for women to be like, what's going on? Never seen pretty girls just give up on themselves like this. There's like a lot. And so this girl, I'm sure she lost weight. She freaking have all sorts of guys after her, but she doesn't have any confidence in herself. And oh yeah, and this is something too, as I want to say, is because I was talking to those two young girls, and luckily they do have that kind of talk to an older person about boys and stuff, and not to give them like a tainted kind of like, but to give them an honest, like uh, real news. And if someone say it to anybody, is if a boy or a guy or a girl, whoever, if you're in a relationship with somebody and you're just, seeing them on, just mostly in a bedroom, and you're just, they come up with little cute terms for it now, but it still is a way that you're going to not feel good about yourself. And so, if you're friends with benefits or whatever, you're going to, and always the girls always start having feelings. Girls don't typically sleep with people unless they have feelings. This whole thing of getting girls to think they don't have feelings, I think, and getting them to try and be like, there's something wrong with you if you have feelings, you need to have empty sex. I think that's fucking with people. But if you are, having a relationship like that, and then all of a sudden this person, now they've got a girlfriend, they can't come over and see you anymore because now they got a girlfriend, then you need to, don't, when they all of a sudden break up with that girlfriend, you don't go back in and be, guys, I don't know what else to call it, but a filler chick. You just fill their time in between their girlfriends. And there's a lot of girls who don't set their standard higher than being a filler chick. And like, I feel like this lady who was doing this sad video, who was crying, she was willing to be, a filler chick. Just please give me some of your time, whatever it is, just give me some of your time. And there's so many girls out there who will settle to be somebody's filler chick. And the guys, if they are not taking you out and treating you like you have value, then they don't value you. That's just the facts. And don't settle. Don't settle to be somebody's filler chick and stuff. So but that is where you got to learn your own value. But see, that is where you won't pull in your soulmate or whatever when you're in that state of mind, when you are just, look, because you're in the part where you're learning lessons. You're learning how to love yourself. All these relationships that are coming in for you are all ones to teach you your own boundaries, your own standards, how you feel about yourself. It's something that you need to be questioning all the time. It took me a long time, really long time. And so I was a really big, hard lesson, because that was my disease, was relationship junkie. I was constantly in a relationship. I constantly had someone who wanted to be in a relationship. I was constantly being overridden in all relationships. I was just always, but I allowed myself to not matter. I allowed myself to just, my opinions to be put aside. It took a long time. I had to lose all of the stuff to finally get to where, a place of confidence and to find balance, like in my masculine and feminine. I was just way too much. If you're too much in your feminine, you get totally taken advantage of, so you got to find balance in yourself. But so this girl, she's heavy set, and she's like, just because I'm fat, I still deserve love and all of that, and she's just like, just somebody, anybody, somebody's got to, and it's just like, God, the desperation and the not feeling good about yourself. And it's so crazy because, if she did lose weight, she would feel so empowered. She'd feel so good. She would see that she's pretty. She wouldn't feel so insecure. She wouldn't feel so ugly and, not worthy. But when she would make that choice to love herself and to not just take any old desperate guy, to have a higher expectation for yourself, not just any guy that stops by will do, and then that sets up a whole thing where people start getting so, the first guy that gives them attention, boy, they're just like right on it. And it's just too desperate. You got to, but those are your lessons. Those lessons, when somebody comes and then you jump right on, that's your lesson. Whatever, it's going to probably go in a way that you don't like. It's going to probably go with you feeling defeated and abused and stuff. And then you got to see when you come out of it that you went into it. Your soul knew your soul knew the lessons and stuff. You're not just this person's victim. You had to go in and learn how to love yourself. But once you go and do that, once you start seeing that you need to love yourself, and it turns that beacon thing on or whatever, and you will become more in alignment with your higher, the higher vibration love instead of the lower vibration love. And so then it's a whole nother journey. It's a whole nother experience. It's not the same experience as learning to love yourself. Because then once you love yourself, then it's going, and then you find balance in yourself, then you can go into a partnership and find balance because you are balanced. But see, so many people are going out and trying to start relationships and they aren't balanced, and they want this other person to balance them. They're looking for like their other half. I need somebody to balance me out and all that stuff. But you have to balance you out, because all of these people, what your lessons are going to be, none of these people can give you what you are looking for. None of them can give you what you really truly need. That is only inside of you. And so if you're always looking outside of you, always trying to find love outside of you in order, well, to me, I was like, I mean, to love myself was so foreign. It almost it seemed like guilty. Like if somebody even said something like that to me, I would feel so guilty. Put myself ahead of other people to love myself? What are you talking about? I was like, no, that would be I had to learn that it was okay to love myself, and it was healthy. You need to love yourself. If you don't love yourself, then nobody who comes around you is going to love you. If you don't prioritize yourself, nobody's going to give you give you your what you deserve. You deserve more than what you expect from other people. But it's like you lower your standard and you don't see yourself as having value. Instead, you just focus on what's wrong with you. And it's weird because people will just focus on what's wrong with them, but it isn't even focused on the dark side, the part that is hidden from them. But they'll still beat themselves up. But that is all out of comparing yourself to other people. Like, and you're not pretty enough, you're not smart enough, you're not tall enough, you're not skinny enough, you're not shapely enough, you don't have enough hair, you got too much hair. All these different things is you comparing yourself to someone else who, obviously you think they're just right. And so then you start comparing yourself to them. So then you start feeling bad about yourself and beating yourself up. But it isn't, seeing your dark side is like a whole healing thing. Seeing your dark side is where you can learn to accept other people's dark side, where you can see it isn't just like this person's just all bad. It's like we all have both sides. And so many people use the dark side as a shield, as a it's like a shield and a weapon to go through life as a hurt, damaged being, as somebody who has suffered in pain and trauma, and then they'll use the dark to shield and protect themselves. And so, the dark has a place. We're breaking free from this duality illusion of black and white. And that's why the gray is so much, that's where you're always in, is the gray, when you get into this balancing yourself of seeing, weighing things out. How do you feel about it on both sides? And and then also the seeing how you affect others. Like, you don't affect everybody in a positive way. And it's not like you're supposed to. It's not like you're doing something wrong. But you have to see that that's why you aren't affected by everybody in a positive way. Yesterday, I saw something that was so cool. I don't know if I could remember it. But that just made it cross into my mind. Because it was something about that. And I was like, oh, man. It'll just show you things that are just so cool. It is so much like, I just think it's so important for people to work on that communication and see. And, you could be completely, totally communicating and you just don't realize it. You just think that you're thinking. But then when you start observing your thinking, observing yourself in thought, observing what you're thinking about, observing the conversation, then you'll start realizing, like, oh, wait, I'm actually conversing. So who am I conversing with? And then you start trying to figure out, like, and that's where you gotta read the temperature. Like, oh, this was a good one too that I gotta tell her. Too, that I want to share, because she had said something, because she even brought up about the dark energy that was attached to her. I said, you seem so much lighter. And she said, well, can you see it? It's like, only time I saw it, it was when I would go walking down the hall, and it would block the door, and it would like come out. It was like very protective of her, like a fucking wolf and a vampire's in their crypt or something. And but she would feed that dark energy. It's easy when you are, any kind of down, darkness, feeling victimized and stuff, you're feeling that, fueling that dark energy. And so she had asked about, if I could see it. And I said, you seem a lot lighter. And I don't think, I think you, I mean, the inner, those attachments will stay on you, but some will go off, but some will get smaller and stuff. Like, you can, even if you've got a lot of darkness around you, you can manage it. It's manageable. You just have to become the manager of, your own, minding the manner. You've got to manage, you've got to be the seeing in Downton Abbey, the one guy who ran the whole house or something, you got to kind of be that personality too. And so, let's see, what was I going to say? Because I think I was talking about something that somebody else had thought or said. Oh, God. It drives me crazy when I lose what I'm talking about. See, that's the part where if it was live, where I would start feeling like I should just end it. I can't remember what I'm talking about. Let me think. I keep seeing a spaceship. Oh, it gets weird. So weird, because I have no idea what I was talking about. I'm trying to go backwards. Let's see. So I was talking about energy. Okay, so the balance, like the dark and the light. There's so many things about the dark and the light. Oh yeah, because the duality, because we're trying to, because that is a big paradigm that's we're breaking free from. This end of this Piscean age and stuff. It has to do with duality and Jesus having a savior and what's the confirmation. There's so many people that say that all the time. They always, and they're serious. So I don't know. Maybe it really is confirmation. Fuck, I don't know. But so the breaking free from that kind of duality. But so in your awakening, while you're healing and stuff, is those are the things you start to notice. Is you know, kind of like your place is, so it's kind of like if you can see your place and you can understand that you're not just the good guy, then you can start seeing that the other people, like how nobody has to just be the good guy. So then you don't have to play the victim because nobody's the bad guy. So it kind of just puts everybody kind of on equal footing. Yeah, we've all hurt each other. I've hurt you, you've hurt me, you know, and taking responsibility for our own things, you know, what we've put out. And that is going to be a big lesson too. Watch as this goes. Whatever people have been putting out is going to come back on them. So they're going to get a good view of what it is they put out, what their energy. And I think that kind of stuff is already happening. Like if somebody puts out lots and lots of drama, they're finding themselves just in constant drama, constant problems. Like, oh yeah, because that, oh yeah, okay. So when she, the dark energy attachments. Okay, so when she, so she was asking me about the, you know, if I saw it and stuff. And then, so she came and she was asking me about this situation with this boy and stuff. And, you know, I think as a young girl, you keep wanting it to be like, you know, it's got to be a good thing. It's got to be a good thing. You know, maybe I made a mistake. Maybe I did this, you know. But it's like, no, these relationships are all there to teach you right now. They're there for you to learn. You got to let go of them and keep moving through them. Not, you know, but if you keep holding on to one, you know, just figure the lessons aren't going to get better. It's not going to suddenly switch. And but she had said about that she had said this really mean thing to him. She told me what he said. I said, you say stuff like that to a guy, no, they take that bad. Don't say that. And so we got into the conversation. I said, that's that dark energy that I'm talking about. That's where you got to realize in your own self. When it's telling you to say something like that and it's directing you to hurt somebody, that dark energy is trying to hold you to itself. It's trying to damage your relationships. It's trying to cause pain and suffering and isolate you. And so that is exactly what I'm talking about. When you're not using all of your mind to go through what you're saying, what you're putting out, then you don't realize, you know, you're just, you know, quickly saying something that is really mean and hateful that popped into your mind because that's what the dark energy does. It keeps you in that turmoil, in isolation, in there's all sorts of things. There's resentment and fear, all sorts of things. My stomach's already growling. I've just been starving since I got up this morning. I haven't eaten anything yet, but my stomach's growling like crazy. There's fucking parasites are crawling around my goddamn face all the time, trying to crawl out of my nose. Fuckers. So, but anyways, I got to make that really good point to her so she could really see that what I mean by that's what each person you got to notice. When you're just saying mean things that just pop into your head, that dark energy is like the trigger happy. is a quick response, and their response is always to keep you isolated, keep other people less than you. You're better than other people. It's a dark energy. It's just like, is is not like demons and devils like what people think, like in that state of consciousness, but it's kind of like the same kind of representation of manipulation, but it's like parasitic. So it's a manipulation to control you, but it isn't the same as like demon. It isn't a fully like a demon. Doesn't that give you an idea? It's like similar to us. It's like multifaceted. These energies, these dark energies are more of just an emotion, just a strong feeling that isn't multifaceted. It doesn't have a bunch of different feelings. It doesn't even know what it is. It's just trying to attach to you to feel better. So it's just an energy that just doesn't have the same consciousness as us. And and I don't know if it's becoming conscious, that could be where we think of as being demons in hell, because they're down in this deep density, in this energy, trying to figure out who and what they are. So it's like they're coming out of all of this depths of hell, the darkness, and like, it'd be a lot to try and find the light when you're just complete darkness. So I mean, that could take eons. Like, I don't know. And maybe this is this ascension, maybe this big bang that's gonna occur. Maybe that's gonna give them all a big jolt, and all this dark energy is all of a sudden gonna become some kind of conscious energy. I don't know. But it's something that you need to be aware of. Is your own dark attachments, your own, those quick things that come into your mind, and start catching them and realizing how toxic they are, how they're not doing you any favors, and they're keeping you in a lot of drama and fighting and stuff like that. So, anyways, I thought that was really good. And she even was talking about her friend with her dark attachments that she keeps feeling. She has them. Everybody has them. Everybody has them. Everybody has these dark energy attachments that, however, they linger on you. And as you heal, you'll see, because as you release them, that you feel lighter. You just feel lighter. You don't have that same darkness. Just like when she came walking in, she looked lighter. She just looked like brighter, and she just didn't look, because they dim you. They suck the life out of you. They wear on you, especially if they start getting too big. And they start getting too big when people go too deep into their depression and negativity and sadness and stuff. You're just getting way too much in there with the darkness. It overtakes you. And they sit there and tell you, yeah, just end it. Just end it all. What does it matter? You know? And they don't fucking know what it means when you're going to end it. They don't know. So it's not like that they don't know they're not going to have a place then anymore. Or who are they going to attach to? Everybody who comes to the funeral, I guess. So, but, that is, and then you get to the other side, you go to your life review, and then you see for yourself, like, you were disconnected from yourself. And I think, when you're in the game and then you see, like, fuck, I could have done so much better. If I would have listened to myself, if I would have done this, I could have done so much better. So that's, I think, suicide. I think the big thing about that is just you're so mad at yourself. You're just angry at yourself for giving up, not sticking it out, not trying harder, and taking such the easy way out, the quick way out. And, I mean, it's so funny, too, how, the attitude towards suicide and whatnot, when all of us know in our heart and soul that when somebody goes, they're going home. It's like, well, we all know, like, well, if we were going to go, you wouldn't have all these people killing themselves. They all thought they were going to be going to hell and stuff. I think that their soul knows, fuck, anything's got to be better than this. But you know that you're going home. You know that you have someplace you're going. Like, I think, I don't know. I'm sure there's probably souls, like if you read a lot of those near-death experiences, there probably is a lot of souls that come out and then they're just shocked, like, I didn't know I was going to be here. But it just takes remembering. It's not new souls. New souls, yeah, like new souls to me would be like, I don't know, maybe birds, or is like there's levels of consciousness. And so as a soul becomes aware of itself, as a soul advances to become its own self, it is the dimension thing is, it's an awareness thing. It's just like, a dog. Their awareness is what's in front of them. Like, they're not thinking about the past. They're not thinking about, like, and who knows what they're really thinking about. Like, we're not really inside their heads or something. But, they don't have an awareness of the back of the room. They don't have awareness of their butt or their tail. That's why some dogs will chase their tail, because they don't know it's attached to them, because they have like two-dimensional ability to see and to recognize and see. And like, we're in three-dimensional. So like, we're in the dollhouse and can look around and see. We've got all the walls and stuff. Then fourth dimension is when you step out of it, like from your higher self, your perspective, like your consciousness sitting on the shelf watching itself. So then in the fourth dimension is when you begin to observe yourself, watch yourself. You begin to use your higher states of consciousness to communicate with yourself. And then it just keeps stepping up, 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 the more, because I don't even know, like fifth dimension. I thought that the guy, Mateus DeStefano on Initiation on Gaia channel, I thought he explained it really good when he was explaining about the dimensions. But I think he explained something about the fifth and sixth. And it seems like he says that there's like 9. I've seen other people say like there's 12. I don't know, because I don't think it's like as distinct as what we think of as dimensions. It's kind of just the space between the frequencies. And and then even where he says when you get to the highest place that you can be, it is just so empty, because there's no judgment, there's no feel, there's just nothing. And to me, it gives you the sign that, well, we need judgment. We just need to be appropriate with judgment. We need to be able to look at things and make judgments for ourselves and figure out how we feel about things. But we need to not classify people under our judgment as being like they're good or bad or something. Like, our judgment is our own personal judgment. It's our own observation. It's our own perspective. So it's not something that we need to put off on somebody else. Well, they should think the same way as me, or they're just stupid, or they aren't good enough, or whatever. That is like an ignorant base kind of concept to think, because nobody can know how you think. Nobody can know how you experience, because it's all unique to you. You're the only one who has had all your experiences to have your perspective. So nobody else can see what you see, and nobody else is supposed to. And you're supposed to be comfortable with that. And so it's all about working towards this, being comfortable with yourself in all these different ways as consciousness. Because as a conscious being and relying on others, you can see how it's so manipulated, how you're not really your true self. You're being something to try and please other people. And so you're not your true self. And so, to me, it has everything to do with this, path to enlightenment is the path to your truth, the path to your true self. What do you feel? What do you think? Who are you? What do you feel about things? And then releasing your own judgment on other people and feeling like, anybody needs to be exactly like you, to just be comfortable in being able to just be you and accept others for just being them. That is where we reach, our higher states of existence. And so, in there is an appreciation for everybody else's experience instead of a judgment. And so, because you can learn from other people's experiences, especially if you can, you know, uh, kind of absorb yourself into it through compassion or empathy. But that can also be in all sorts of levels, because you could actually go in and experience. If somebody tells you something, you can go in and create the experience in your own mind to put yourself through the experience. So you create the experience through your mind when you see something. So it can have an effect on you. So it can be a lesson to you, but it's somebody else's experience, but you can still learn from their experiences. What I'm saying? I know I've said that before, and I don't know if I'm saying exactly the same, but it kind of is like the same thing of like where you can make yourself younger by putting yourself back in the past in your surroundings. So, I don't know, there's just so much more to the stuff with our mind of what we have control over and stuff. It's just so much about people just being so misled. So misled. And I just heard that Rockefeller thing just right before this. So it's just really fresh. And so it's just like, it's just so crazy how they just did it all on purpose. Just do this, just, because they look down on us. They think that they're better than us. And then we're all just like these nice people who just do what we're told and just try and make the best of it. It's like, so we got taken advantage of. And so, but we have to, register that fact, and we have to respond to it. We have to make choices. We have to make a difference. We have to do things different. But that's the cool thing, is that is what's going to happen. I just saw this girl, and she was so excited of what's going on with Oprah right now. And she was like, it's like watching the Titans fall, because she said that she was so, she's growling like crazy. She was put up on such a pedestal in the 90s, like she could do no wrong. People wanted her to rule the world. And then, and how she used it all for evil. She's so fuck. She's really rotten. And now it's all being exposed, and she's, having her great fall, and how great it is to see it. And that is, that's the truth of all this. This is all going to be, so many are going to be falling. So many are going to be seen for, this dark side of themselves. I think this, I don't know. I think it's so ridiculous, whatever this stuff with Hunter and Joe and stuff. So it's going to be just a ridiculous thing, I think. Whatever is going to go down, whatever's going to be the big thing, it's just going to be so fucking absurd. I just can't even believe. Like, he's going to sue the IRS. Like, the IRS doesn't even have any money. What are you suing the IRS for? Like, it's so ridiculous. And then plus, for how many people know that stuff is all real, and that there's people who believe that this isn't real. And I don't know, I'm just gonna be so glad when it all just finally goes. To me, that it seems like I saw something else with the money thing, where I was like, okay, this has got to be going. And I don't remember if I said too in Sri Lanka, that they're doing the same thing, as they're taking out all of their government, and they're killing them in the streets. I'm not sure if they're, chopping their heads off with a sword, or Um, maybe they're, I don't know, but they're ending the lives of the government out there. And so that is going to be going on just globally, all over the place. It's all of this, change in power. The people who have been taking power away from people now, it's the end of their time. Their time is up. Their time is over. And then, it's this big changeover, this big exciting thing. And the money thing is, I just feel like it's got to be the first thing that goes, because it's got to go under Joe. It's got to be close. They've got so many things. In California, gas is going up, and who knows what it went up last night. But this one lady said it's going up 10 cents a day. They're almost to $6. And that has already been a big part of it. And there's something, too, that Joe's been saying, because that is the whole thing about when we import all of our fucking resources, because that's how they set it up. That's what they do. They go in and destroy a place, and then they get everything to be imported from somewhere else so they can control it. And so, now we've got all this stuff that we need to get confirmation from other countries, and they don't accept our money. Our money has no value. So everything that we have is going to skyrocket, and we're not going to be able to get things. So, and I don't know how long they're going to drag it out, but so the gas is already starting to go up. I don't know here. Today I am going to go out real quick and get a couple things, and I'll notice the price of the gas and see. And but those guys, oh yeah, because there was also, I saw Square was down, and dispensaries you couldn't go and buy things in dispensaries. Square was down everywhere. You couldn't buy anything that was any of those kinds of purchases. And I don't know if it's back up. Apple had gone down before. So all these things are all good signs for the money thing. And, who knows if now Square has gone on to the quantum thing. And so they took it down to put it onto the other one. Or, it could be anything. Because it's all going to go over to this other thing, to the quantum. And it's a digital system, but it's all gold backed, and it's all global. Everybody's going to be on the same system, the same money thing. It's not going to be where you have to figure out pesos and euros and dollars and look, and there's been so many different money things. So it's not going to be like that anymore. It's just going to be like equal thing. And everybody's value is going to be the same. All the different countries are going to start doing their resources in-house again, and people are going to become more independent, and it's just going to be huge shifts, huge things that are going to make our lives so much better. So anyways, I still feel like it's super close. I still feel like, for sure, I don't see how we would go. I don't see how we can go much longer. So anyways, I'm just going to keep on, and it's going to be another disappointment. That's going to be another disappointment. But I'm going to keep putting my energy towards this collapse happening before the end of September, the financial collapse, and then it'll just lead into more stuff with the government. And there's so many people going down, so many people being arrested, and so many things coming out. Like there was just a fucking little clip of Nancy getting interviewed, because now she's going to run again. This whole thing is so absurd. And one of these newscasters talking to her, and she's like, oh, well, I don't really get my feelings hurt or something like that because I'm a reptilian. And then she starts laughing. It's like all this stuff, it just keeps coming out and coming out. So, I mean, I just don't see it going for another year or two. I think it's like right on the precipice of just the big collapse and it all going. And then, it's going to go really good for some people. And then there's going to be like the little infants who are going to be crying. But see, they're going to look towards the other people because they're going to see hope. They're going to see. So they need this other people to, they need all of us who have been going through this on this side of it to step into the place that we're going, because that is what's going to drive them. It's what's going to give them hope. It's what's going to be the driving motivation to move us all forward is those of us who are going to step in when things flip. So those of us who've been going through all this hardship, through all of this, like, you know, where we've all been in the upside down, then when it switches and it goes right side up for us and we all feel good and they're all in the upside down and have to find their way to flip themselves up, but we are going to be the ones who, you know, are the motivation, the ones that give them hope, the ones that are the shoulders to cry on. And how did you get through it? How did you see it? How did, you know, it's going to be so many different conversations. It's getting me so emotional. Wow. So, you know, that's going to be, but through this time is when you are supposed to be doing your healing. So you could be there for people. So you can let go of your resentment and your anger. So you can understand that things going on here are much bigger than what you have minimized them to, as just this little life and these little fights with these people who have done you wrong. And to see that everything that has been done wrong to you has given you gifts, has helped you grow. It's helped you become the person you are. And, you know, that doesn't help much if you don't like yourself. But that is where you have to go through a lot of different life experiences to learn to love yourself, because you're not seeing your own value. And your value is we all are the same value. We all have the same value. It's not like, so if you devalue yourself, then you aren't seeing yourself. You're not seeing, you know, your importance in the universe. It's like every cell on your body is just as important as the other cell. And so there's not like one cell where you go, oh, I just had that one cell, everything would be great. No, you want all your cells. And so it's the same thing. You know, the universe wants all its souls. We're all the same. It needs us all. We all have a part we're playing. We all give a reflection back of what life is. And no matter what it is you're reflecting back, it is your reflection of that time. But time is always changing because experiences are always expanding and you are always evolving. So you are always changing your frequency, your light, your enhancement. Like, I don't know if that would be the right word. It's like a jewel sitting there, and it keeps lighting up, getting lighter and brighter. So that is you. You are the crystal. You are the energy. And so, anyways, I feel like I'm just totally rambling. Like, but anyways, just, you know, let me, that's one thing too. Let me know if you guys, more people to say, if this is, it just spends all day downloading, if it's a problem, or you just watch older ones and then you just wait until that one comes and then you can watch it, but you're always just like a day behind or something. And if that is, you know, like, I can go live if that makes it where everybody can see it quicker. Just, you know, for people to tell me what works for them. If it doesn't really matter, because I do know, like on mine, if I go in and I look on my page and I go to videos, the live videos aren't under my videos. You have to go to a whole nother section into the live part, and it's got different videos. So that is going to be, you know, a situation when people come in and are looking for videos and they don't realize that there's other videos over there. And especially for people who have been watching me every day for however long, and then all of a sudden there's like the videos aren't there. And then, but you would hear me say this stuff, but I don't know if there is. Everybody knows that there's videos over there in that live part. So anyways, people just got to tell me. I've only had 2 people tell me it's taken all day for their videos to download. And then somebody else has said in the comments, I think there has been a few people who have said that. I think 3 people, maybe 4 people have said that their video just keeps downloading, which I know that's censorship. Like, they are jacking with my account all fucking time. I still don't get how they went with, it was a 2-number system, and then how it was going up, and then how they flipped it and turned it into 3 numbers for me, And then how they now, I don't know. Yeah, I know that they do that though, where they'll just leave my uh, videos. But to me, I feel fortunate because I still have my account. So I feel fortunate about that. Um, but I can go live. Like, I'm got no problem with that. I'm just, I'll have to shift and do things differently. And I don't know, figure out how to get more people to realize you have to go into the other section. Like, there's 2 video sections, not just one. So, but anyways, just let me know what you guys want. And then just, just keep trying to stay positive through all of this part. It just feels so drug out and so hard and so absurd and just so much in your face and so ridiculous where it's just like aggravating. And I'll tell you, on TikTok right now, it is like weird. It is so fucking weird. Like, all these people with big accounts and shit. And they're all just all of a sudden just lip syncing. It's weird. It is so weird. It's like, well, suddenly everybody has nothing to say, but they're just going to sing along to songs just because they got to make a video. Like, what? I don't know. There's something weird. It's very strange. I was just like so weirded out all yesterday. Now today, I don't even know. I've seen a couple videos just out. As soon as that girl started talking about that reincarnation thing, I started to cry. I was like, okay, I just gotta go do this before I sit here and cry. And so, anyways, I'll have to go on and see what the energy is like today on there. But like, oh my God. It's like, is everything just all of a sudden just gone completely shallow? These fucking girls are just put on, I swear to God, I just put on my swimming suit and dance and then pretend like I'm not trying to get attention. What? It's like obvious. Who are you pretending to? Yourself? Because everybody else can see it. And then all these people who keep doing all of these just lip syncing. Just lip syncing is like, well, I don't know. I've got my own words to speak. I'm not going to speak somebody else's words and then try and sync my mouth to what they're saying. Like, I don't get the humor in it. I don't get the, I don't know. But look at me, misjudgmental here. I don't get it. I don't get it. And it did feel very, very shallow. And it felt like this big change all of a sudden where all these people, it was like people who normally would be talking about things. And then all of a sudden everybody's just, it was like Twilight Zone. It was weird as fuck. So anyways, oh my God, I've been talking a long ass time. So I'm going to stop talking and I'll talk to you later. Bye.